$108,246 is what my wife and I's content agency made last month as photographers, filmmakers, and brand strategists. Now, if you would have told me 11 years ago when I first started this agency, Joey, one day you're going to be doing 6 figures a month, I would have thought you were crazy. Making $1,500 a month felt really far-fetched. So if that's you, I'm so glad you are here. In this video, we're going to be breaking down what we sold, the prices we sold them for, and then breaking down some of the things that we've learned in the process that have allowed us to have 6-figure months. So my hope for you in this video, watch the whole thing. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to get you closer to your next biggest month. The most important detail of both of our stories is that I was not born great at business. You were not born great at business. These are all things that we all have to learn, right?
Yeah, if I would have known the things that we're talking about in this video 5-6 years ago, it would have saved me a lot of headache, but it also would have been incredible for my business.
Yeah, you would have made a lot more money early on. Same with me. So we're so glad you are here. That's exactly why we started Creative Rise back in 2019, is to help creatives just like you learn how to get paid to do what you love by focusing on the business side of your business. So this video is going to break down the business side of some of our business. We are so excited to share with you what our biggest month ever looked like. Let's jump in. So here's the projects and the exact pricing that we sold to total $108,000 a month. We shot 4 photo and video campaigns for retainer clients that were each worth $12,000. Now we produce these, we film them, we photograph them, we edit them, and we turn them around fairly quickly. These totaled $12,000 each, which is a total of $48,000 this month. Number 2, we rebranded a company in the fintech space. They needed a totally new visual brand, totally new narrative brand. They needed a new website, new UI, UX. They needed a bunch of stuff. We ran them through our brand strategy workshop, and that whole project was a total of $50,996. Third, we sold a pin post offer, so helping clients really identify what should live on the top 3 posts of their Instagram profile so that when a newcomer comes onto their page, they've got 3 strategic pin posts there that are really going to help walk somebody through their funnel. So we sold this to a client for $5,250, and this was 3 different videos: an origin story video, a what we do video, and then a case study video. And last but not least, we shot an engagement shoot, which was super fun, for $4,000. So here's 3 focuses that helped us accomplish that. So number 1 is learning how to price your work off value.
So what does it look like to actually do value-based pricing?
Yeah, so value-based pricing is based off 4 main things. And this is why it's a little bit more gray, it's a little bit more complex, and why a lot of creatives, including us when we got started, just start charging for our time. But if you do that, I'm telling you, you're missing out. So here's the 4 components of value-based pricing you need to learn how to figure out and how it applies to you so that you can start charging for your value rather than your time. Number 1, and the most important one, is ROI. Understanding what a client's return on investment is when they hire you. If they hire you and pay you $5,000, what is that work you're creating for $5,000 going to make them in the next 6, 12, 24, 36 months, maybe even 5 years? Are they going to make an extra $50,000 off of the $5,000 they paid you? Are they going to make $500,000, $5 million, right? This is one of the reasons why it's easier to charge bigger brands more money when you do a really, really good job for them. Not because, oh, they're a bigger brand, I should be able to charge them more, but because the risk of what could go wrong, meaning the missed out ROI of what could go wrong, is so much greater, because if the project doesn't go well, there's a lot more money that they're hoping to make off you. The ROI is really high. If the project doesn't go well, they miss out on all that. So ROI is an important thing to think about. What is the return on investment? When someone hires you for $1,000, are they making $10,000 back, $50,000 back? And obviously, the higher the ROI, the easier it is for you to quantify your value going up. Therefore, you can make more money off it. So number 1 is ROI. Number 2 is thinking about how quickly you can turn around your work. So instead of charging for your time, we actually flip time on its head. Instead of going, I need to make this project take as much time as possible so I can charge as many hours as possible and make as much money as I can on this, we flip that around and go, how quickly can we possibly get this turned around? Because people pay for speed, right? The faster you can solve a problem for a client, the more money, the more valuable that solution is for a client, aka the more money you can charge for that, right? So the second piece, ROI is the first one. The second piece is how quickly you can turn something around. The third piece is simply quality, right? Obviously, in value-based pricing, the better quality your product is, hopefully that's going to translate into a better ROI for the client. So quality is a very important thing, and quality of deliverables is a very important thing when you're looking at your value-based pricing. And then the last thing, this is probably the thing that creatives overlook the most and that took us probably the longest to figure out, but now that we've got it figured out, it's really, really great in increasing the value of what we do, is evaluating risk. How is working with you, Christy, or working with me, or working with us, or maybe working with you, going to decrease the risk, the potential risk that this client is taking on in order to get this project done?
And number 2 of how we had a 6-figure month is by increasing the value of each client. When someone comes to you and they're asking for something, they come and ask for photos, or they come and ask for a video, they come and ask for a wedding gallery, whatever it is, wedding photography, looking at each client and going, okay, what are they asking for? And then what do they actually need? Think of it like when you go to the doctor's office. You don't walk into the doctor's office and say, hey, I've got a bum arm. And they're like, great, pick which surgery you would like to have.
You pick whatever one you want.
Pick whatever you want. They go, hey, well, let's take some x-rays. Does this hurt when you move it like this? How does that feel? What do you want to be able to do with your arm? Do you play sports? Do you want to get back to that? They ask questions and they diagnose the problem and then give you a solution that solves the problem. That's exactly what you are going to do as a creative when a client comes to you. So how this worked for us, if we would have just given what our clients had initially come to us and asked for, we would have had a much lower month, much lower month.
Example, the engagement shoot we did,
Yeah,
$4,000 engagement shoot. Originally, the couple had come to us and just saying, hey, we just want some photos done. And the discovery process was, well, what else, what's happening in this engagement shoot? This is going to be one of the best moments of your life. Where are the other ways that you might want some value out of this? You might want some things captured. And it ended up being, well, yeah, I think we want a video as well. We actually want to add on a next day couple session as well. We added on a bunch of things, and all of a sudden the ticket price was $4,000 versus being like, what's a typical engagement shoot, right?
Maybe like $1,000.
$800, $1,000, right? So you can look at that and say we potentially 4x the value of that client and the 4x the value of taking those dates off our calendar because we played the role of the doctor.
Yeah.
Same thing with the brand strategy deal we did. Instead of them just coming to us and saying, hey, we want to run through your brand strategy workshop and we want you to help us shape our new brand narrative, I went, great. Well, let's take a look at your web. Let's take a look at your UI, UX. Let's take a look at your visual brand. And we ended up doing a lot more in that deal than they initially thought because we were able to find other places where we could really, really give them value. And they were super excited about that value.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually were just talking to someone who's in our mastermind community yesterday, and she was talking about, hey, I want to pitch this Airbnb and I want to pitch them some photos. And as we were talking about it, we're like, actually, they don't need just photos. They actually need help with their entire social media. And so we crafted an offer with her that she's going to pitch the client today, not just photos, but hey, I'm also going to run your social media and it's going to be an upgraded price of this. And it actually solves 2 problems rather than just one problem that they may have not even picked up on.
Yeah.
So figuring out how you can increase the value of each client, not just for your own benefit, but for their benefit as well, is key to hitting higher income months.
Hey, real quick, before we jump into point number 3, you need to be with us next Wednesday, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, February 26th, for the new 10K per month creator workshop. It's totally free. Whole community's coming. You are invited. If you want to learn how to hit your first 10K month or build more consistent 10K months as a photographer, filmmaker, brand strategist, or social media manager, maybe you're even a content creator or influencer, you got to be with us. Super excited to see you there. Go to creativerise.com/workshop. Totally free workshop. It's going to be awesome. My promise to you, you're going to get a ton of value out of it. We'll see you there. Number 3 is learning how to overcome sales objections. And quick disclaimer, I was not good at sales when I started my creative business back in 2014.
Neither was I.
You were not good at sales. So if you're
Definitely
sitting here watching this going, well, you guys just had a 6-figure month because you're just naturally good at sales. That is not true. That is not true at all. But just because you're not naturally good at sales, or maybe you don't even like sales, that is not an excuse to not do sales, right? The only way that your business is going to grow is if you proficiently get better at sales. And so the biggest sales objection is what, Christy? Time and time again, what do we hear the biggest one to be?
Pricing. Joey, how do you block pricing objections with your clients in order for them to want to spend a lot of money with you?
Yeah, so a couple things come into price objections. The first one is I don't get offended. The biggest part about sales that I think I used to do wrong, that we see a lot of creatives still do wrong, is when someone says, well, that's too expensive, Christy. We're not hiring you for that. They go, oh, well, my photos are great, or my gear and this, or they start arguing their why they should be worth the price. And I don't do that. I don't chase deals
like a personal hit when someone tries to
I don't chase deals by getting
price.
offended and chasing after them trying to quantify why my price price is worth it. Often my response to that is, well, let's talk about the price. Let's break down what you guys are really hoping to get out of this. And maybe there might be a better option for you. Maybe it's not us. If you can actually find all the things you're looking for at a price that's cheaper than us, then you probably should go with that. I actually had that exact conversation with one of these clients that actually was one of the bigger deals this past month. I just looked them in the eyes and said, well, if you can find this for cheaper, don't let me get in front of that. You guys should probably make a good business decision and go with the thing that's cheaper. However, this is the key part here, this is where you start walking them through what really matters to them. However, are you able to look at me right now? And are you sure? I'm talking to them on Zoom as a Zoom call. Are you sure that what you're getting for that price, that lower price, is the same quality? It's going to have the same return on investment. It's going to be able to have the same turnaround, quick turnaround. And do they have a process you guys really trust? Because if you can say yes to those 3 or 4 out of those boxes there, then you should totally go with the cheaper option. But can you answer that for me? And they looked back at me and said, you know what, as we think about it, no, we don't trust them as much. We're not quite sure if they can hit the same turnaround. And so I said, well, if that's the case, then what's more important to you guys? Getting a better price or making sure that the quality, the turnaround time, and the included risk, the risk that's involved is less? And like, if we can hit all those things well, is that more important to you, or is the pricing more important to you? And their answer was, well, it sucks to spend more money. Those things are much more important to us, because if we don't get those things done properly, if the turnaround isn't on time, or if the quality isn't good enough and we have to rehire someone to do it again, we're going to miss deadlines in our own business, and that's going to hurt our own revenue. So I looked at them and said, well, if that's the case, then I know it's going to cost you guys a little bit more money, but I can guarantee you we're going to get those things done on this turnaround time with this type of quality, and here's how we're going to diminish the risk so you can really trust it. Here's our process. And we ended up signing the deal. So the best way to handle a price objection is by helping them understand what's most important to them, recentering them on that, and saying, if you can find that for cheaper and it's going to check those boxes, then you should probably do that. Don't let me get in the way of that. But if not, we might be the best option, and we can guarantee those things are going to happen. We should do it. And more often than not, they're probably going to come full circle on that. Because when somebody objects to price, 9 times out of 10, the price might be a problem, but it's not the biggest problem. So if you can help them figure out what the biggest problem is, and you can show how working with you is really going to solve that problem, you're probably going to get the deal.
So those 3 things are the reason we had our biggest month ever, and also how we month after month are able to grow our creative businesses. And to be honest, if we wouldn't have done those 3 things, we would have made like a 10th of what we made. And so
that's very true.
They're so important. So to recap, the 3 things are...
Yeah, 3 things are, number 1, value-based pricing. If you do not learn value-based pricing and you get stuck charging for your time, I can promise you it's going to be very hard to get to $10,000 months plus and hitting maybe $100,000 month like we just had. Number 2 is really learning how do I increase the value of each and every single client? Think about that doctor analogy. Play the role of the doctor every single time someone inquires with you or you land a new sales call, to really discover what the bigger solution they might need is, and then try and sell that. And number 3 is learning how to overcome sales objections. If you and I had both of those first 2 things, but at the end of the day, we couldn't close deals because we didn't know how to overcome sales objections, we would not have just had a 6-figure month, let alone have 6-figure businesses for the past decade. So those are those 3 things you've got to learn.
Well, I hope this was so helpful for you in figuring out how you can grow your creative business with those 3 things, just like it has helped us grow our creative business. If you want to hear more on this topic, more about how we hit a 6-figure month and how other creatives are hitting 10K consistent months in their own creative business, we got something for you. If you're listening to this before February 26th, we've got a free workshop on February 26th called the 10K per month creator workshop. It's totally free, and our community is going to be there. We're going to be there live hosting this virtual workshop. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to be talking about how you can build a 10K consistent creative business in a bunch of different areas, whether you're in the wedding space, the brand space, social media space, all of those different things. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to do live Q&A. It's awesome. So if you want to register for that, go to creativerise.com/workshop to register for free. And again, be there at 4:30 p.m. PST on February 26th to hit us up at the workshop.
It's going to be great. So if you want to learn how to hit your first 10K month or just build more consistent 10K months, make sure you go hit us up on there. We're going to be so excited to see you there. And if you want even more than that, the best place to get even more than that is by going through our Creative Rise 6-week mastermind. We've been running it since 2019 and innovating it every year, breaking down all the things that Christy and I are using in our own 6-figure businesses and downloading them into you guys through 6 weeks, taking you through a ton of awesome content. But most importantly, the best part of the mastermind is giving you guys great content, great ideas, great strategy, but with a community to actually help you implement it, right? So we're taking 30 to 35 businesses starting on March 16th, but applications launch March March 2nd. So I don't know what date you're listening to this, but if you're inside of the zone prior to March 2nd, or it's between March 2nd to like March 7th, you might still be able to grab one of the last spots in the next round, round 13 of the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind. So all the info is on creativerise.com. If you want to learn how we can get our hands in your business, Christy and I can get literally our hands in your business and help shape a bunch of stuff. The train's coming right now, which means it's time to go. It's time for you to join the wait list, or if we've already launched, it's time for you to jump on in and apply for one of the last spots in the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind. So go to creativerise.com. We'll see you there. Thanks for being here, guys.